everyone, welcome again with me. My name is Nisina Salsabila and today I would like to present several articles discussing the relationship between listening and speaking skills in English language learning. Many people think that listening and speaking are separated skills. However, the article in this presentation shows that these two abilities are actually closely connected and support each other. Listening helps students improve pronunciation, vocabulary, fluency, and communication skills, while speaking allows students to apply what they learn through listening. Throughout this presentation, I will explain 10 different articles that discussing how listening and speaking work together in EFL learning. The study also showed that integrating listening and speaking activities can help students become more confident and effective English users. Without further ado, let's move to the first article. This article is written by Abu Nobar in 2017 entitled On the Relationship Between Listening and Speaking Grades of EFL Students. This article discussed the relationship between listening and speaking skills among EFL students in Jordan. The researcher found that students with better listening skills also tend to achieve better speaking performance. The findings show that listening helps students improve pronunciation, vocabulary, fluency, and oral communication skills. This means that listening is important in foundation for speaking development. One benefit of this study is that it reminds teachers to provide more listening practice in English classrooms so students can become more confident speakers. One strength of this article is that it used real exam scores from 122 university students and statistical analysis, making the finding more reliable. However, one weakness is that the study only focused on one university in Jordan. This article connects closely to the next article because both studies emphasize that listening comprehension plays an important role in improving speaking ability. The second article is written by Edna Hassan in 2022, entitled The Correlation Between Listening Comprehension and Speaking Ability Among EFL Students. This article investigates the relationship between listening and comprehension and speaking ability among university students. The researcher found a positive and significant correlation between the two skills. The article explained that listening comprehension helps students improve pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and fluency in speaking. Students who practice listening more frequently tend to communicate more effectively in English. One benefit of this study is that it encourages teachers to integrate more listening activities into speaking classes to improve students' communication skills. One strength of this article is that the researcher used questionnaires and score documentation to support the findings. However, one weakness is that the study only includes a small number of students. This article connects to the previous study because both articles prove that listening and speaking are interconnected skills that support each other in language learning. The third article is written by Amelhai Asmai and Salsana in 2024 entitled The Importance of Listening and Speaking in Successful English Language Acquisition in Classroom. This article explains that listening and speaking are two essential skills in English language learning. The researchers state that listening should come before speaking because students need language input before producing language. The findings show that listening helps students understand pronunciation, stress, intonation, vocabulary, and sentence pattern, which later improve their speaking ability. One benefit of this article is that it provides practical listening and speaking activities that teachers can apply in classroom to improve students' communication skills. One strength of this study is that it discusses real classroom challenges and practical teaching strategies. However, one weakness is that it focuses more on teachers' perspective than students' direct performance. This article connects to the previous article because it also highlights that listening becomes the foundation for speaking development in EFL learning. The fourth article is written by Al-Korni and Halmera in 2025 entitled Designing a Smart Voice Assistant based on artificial intelligence to develop deep listening and speaking skills in English for elementary school students. This article discussed the use of a smart voice assistant to improve students' listening and speaking skills. The researcher found that students who use the AI voice assistant show better listening and speaking performance compared to students in traditional classroom. The students explained that listening and speaking should be practiced together because students learn pronunciation, vocabulary, and sentence patterns through interactive listening activities before responding verbally. One benefit of this article is that it showed how technology can support integrated listening and speaking practice in English learning. One strength of this study is that it used experimental and control group to compare students improving directly. However, one weakness is that the study only improved a small number of elementary school students. This article connects closely to the previous article because it also emphasized that listening input helps students improve their listening performance and communication skills. The fifth article is written by Metwali, Hakami, and Al-Abdali in 2022, entitled Factors Contributing to the Gap Between Listening and Speaking Skills Performance Among University Students Post-COVID-19. This article discussed the relationship between listening and speaking skills after students return to the traditional classroom post-COVID-19. The researcher found that students generally perform better in listening and speaking. The article explained that although listening and speaking are interconnected skills, speaking performance can still be affected by students' confidence and communication practice. Listening helps students understand spoken English, while speaking requires students to actively use that language. One benefit of this article is that it highlights the importance of balancing listening and speaking activities in language classroom. One strength of this study is that it analyzed the student listening and speaking exam results using statistical analysis. However, one weakness is that the study only focused on female students and university. There is not male students. This article connects to the previous article because it also highlights the importance between the relationship between the listening and speaking. Okay, the sixth article is written by Tuan Muhammad Hanif and Faiza Idrus in 2021, entitled Correlational Study of the English Listening and Speaking Anxiety in Rural Areas. This article investigates the relationship between listening anxiety and speaking anxiety among students in rural schools in Malaysia. The researcher found that students who experience anxiety in listening activities also tend to experience anxiety in speaking class activities too. The study explained that listening and speaking are closely connected because both skills are part of oral communication. When students struggle to understand spoken English, they often become less confident when speaking, right? One benefit of this article is that it reminds the teacher to create supportive classroom environments where students can practice listening and speaking comfortably. One strength of this study is that it involved more than 300 students from different schools. However, one weakness is that the study mainly focused on rural students, so the finding may not represent all learners. This article connects to the previous article too because both studies show that listening and speaking influence each other in communication and classroom performance. The second article is written by Sadehi and Bakshi in 2025, entitled Integrated Listening or Speaking Skill Assessment. This article discussed integrated listening and speaking assessment in language learning. The researcher explained that speaking should not be assessed separately because successful speaking depends heavily on listening comprehension. The findings show that students perform better when listening and speaking are practiced and assessed together. Listening provides language input, while speaking becomes the active response to the input. And one benefit of this article is that it supports integrated learning activities that combine listening and speaking to practice in meaningful communication. And one strength of this study is that it used twofold integrated listening and speaking tasks for assessment. However, one weakness is that the study focused mainly on assessment rather than classroom learning activities. And this article connects closely to the previous studies because it reinforced the idea that listening and speaking are integrated skills that cannot be separated in communication. Okay, the eighth article is written by Nilda Kohagulu and Gorbus Ocha in 2024 entitled The Effect of Listening Strategies on the Listening and Speaking Skills and Listening Motivation. This article discusses how listening strategies can improve both listening and speaking skills among EFL students. The researcher found that students who learn listening strategies show better listening comprehension and speaking performance. The study explained that listening strategies help students understand spoken English more effectively. As students become better listeners, they also become more confident speakers because they are more familiar with pronunciation, vocabulary, and sentence structures. One benefit of this article is that it encourages teachers to teach listening strategies effectively in English classroom to support students' communication skills. One strength of this study is that it used both quantitative and qualitative data to analyze students' improvement. However, one weakness is that the study only focused on secondary schools in students in one area. The article connected closely to the previous studies because it also emphasized that listening development contributes directly to speaking the improvement. The ninth article is written by two person in 2025 entitled Listening Comprehension and Retelling Skills Among Students with Learning Disabilities. This article discusses the relationship between listening and comprehension and retelling skills among students with learning disabilities. The researcher explained that students need to understand spoken information first before they can retell or express it clearly. The findings show that listening comprehension plays an important role in helping students organize and communicate information verbally. This indicates that listening becomes the basis for spoken expression. One benefit of this article is that it highlights the importance of strengthening listening skills before expecting students to speak or retell information effectively. One strength of this study is that it involved a large number of students with learning disabilities. However, one weakness is that the study focused more on retelling skills rather than general speaking performance. This article connects to the previous study because it also professes the speaking performance depends on listening comprehension and language understanding. Okay, in the last article is written by Jian Xu and Yuan Xu in 2022 entitled Second Language Psychological Speaking and Listening Needs. This article discusses the relationship between speaking and listening from the perspective of students' psychological needs. The researcher explained that listening and speaking work together in oral communication and should be developed in an integrated way. The study found that students' confidence, competence, and participation in listening activities are closely connected to their speaking performance. When students feel comfortable listening and interacting, they also become more active speakers. One benefit of this article is that it emphasizes the importance of integrating listening and speaking activities in communication-based learning. One strength of this study is that it involves a large number of EFL learners and used detailed data analysis. However, one weakness is that it focuses more on physiological aspects rather than direct classroom speaking performance. This article connects to all the previous studies because it concludes that listening and speaking are symbiotic skills that support each other to essential communication. To conclude, listening and speaking are closely connected skills that support each other in English language learning. Through these 10 articles, we can see that better listening skills can help students improve their speaking ability and communication skills. See you in the next video. Bye bye.